Well, hello once again. This is another awesome episode of Customizing the Clone Wars. This is episode 51 of the show, and I am your host as always, Peak Obi-Wan from Peak Obi-Wan Custom Creations on Facebook. Along with me, can't do it by myself, I have the dynamic duo. They are Darth Daddy and Elias from Customs for the Kid Blogspot. How you guys doing?
Real good.
Yeah, things are good over here. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
That's right.
It's a Father's Day episode, and
Yep.
we're getting ready to recap season 3 of the Clone Wars television series. On our show, it's more a toy show. We showcase Clone Wars custom action figures from the television series. They're all handmade, one of a kind action figures, and we give little tips on how to make them, what we did to create them, and hopefully get some techniques out of it.
Exactly. This is primarily a toy show, just like he said. And man, I'll tell you, I was trying to do a first-time reveal video the other night, and I had video fright for some reason. Maybe it was because I couldn't see my face. I couldn't actually see myself talking on the screen. It was more of I'm looking at the image, and I couldn't see myself, so I kept flubbing every time. And I'm like, man, what is wrong with me? I do this every week. It's so weird. But yes,
I don't even bother trying to do those kinds because I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
He was actually really good when he did that Tusken Raider diorama.
I was okay.
No, you did a good job, man. Your descriptions were on point.
Yes, they were very important when I said, but then again, you don't want to do it too much.
Yeah, but you're still way better than I could have done.
Yeah. You were talking about the Tusken Raider diorama that you did for your figures,
yeah, we did
right?
that tutorial. He was good at it.
Yeah, I love that video. It's great. It's good. Really good. Yeah, so I got to brush up on my videos. I'm telling you, man. I'm feeling ranty tonight, too. I don't know why, but just not feeling Star Wars right now. I can't find anything, but we'll talk
There's
about
nothing
that
out there.
later. Yeah.
I've seen a few of the 6-inch carded figures here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't picked any up.
Seen the Jawa yet? The Jawa?
Yeah.
No,
I haven't.
Seen the Jawa? Oh no.
I've seen Luke. I've seen Leia. I don't think I've seen anything from the second wave. I saw the what was it, R5D4?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. I think I saw an R2D2 once. I haven't really seen a whole lot. The Vader I've seen quite a bit. Never saw Han Solo. Haven't seen Chewbacca. Haven't seen any Stormtroopers. I mean, I haven't really been looking either. I'm not. I don't have room for those. They're too big.
They're too big. Yeah, we don't necessarily talk about 6-inch too much. We had a great guest on last week, Elias from the Art of Luke Skywalker. And he is a 6-inch customizer, but he is also an excellent 3 3/4-inch customizer, which is where we pretty much reside, right?
Yeah, that's my wheelhouse for sure. I don't mess with 6-inch at all.
Yeah, neither do I. It's just too much money to be customizing on. Maybe if they gave me the entire thing, bought me everything, and maybe I would do it, but I don't know. I'm still on the fence.
I would have to be sponsored or something to take that on.
Yeah.
I've got too much invested in the 3 3/4-inch at this point.
Oh, that's true.
That's where all my problem is.
Yeah. So here we are, episode 51, right? And we are at the season 3 finale recap. This is the recap show, and we're just going to go over all the different episodes that were in season 3. What did you think of season 3 as a whole, Elias? Go.
I think it was probably the first breakthrough season. Seasons 1 and 2 were kind of like their orientation into the whole show business, like just being a show at all. Season 3 is when they really started I don't know what to say really. Like I can't really find the word. It was really like the breakthrough season. I remember like when I was a kid and I was watching the show, that was the first season that really hit me. Like by the end, I was like, wow, is this even the same show anymore?
Sure, sure. Hey, I'll ask you a question. How did you feel as a younger viewer when they did kind of the flashback episodes? You know, because the first part of the season was just kind of catching up with some of the episodes that we've seen in the past, right? It was.
Yeah,
What was
I
the
didn't
title of
understand the
the?
chronological order, and I didn't know that they were supposed to go prior to any other episodes. So I just thought they were like, I just was really interested. And I'm like, so wow, that's how they animated him, you know. I thought it was different. They really put a lot more effort into what they were doing.
Yeah, I hear you. What did you think about it, Brian? Season 3 and Secrets Revealed, I guess it was called, right? The whole idea that.
I mean, for me, especially, I guess the Ventress arc I really liked a lot.
Mhm.
When she was double crossed by Dooku. That wasn't something I was expecting
Right.
to happen, and it really changed the whole dynamic of the show. Where this was the introduction, I think, of things starting to get gray and not black and white, and yeah, sometimes you have bad guys versus bad guys. It was a lot more entertaining than some of the. This is when the storylines just started getting a little more creative, you know.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I like the Secrets Revealed myself. I thought it was cool. It was a good idea. It's so George Lucas, right? It was always this idea that they could go back and tell us a story from the past, or maybe even jump in the future with the Mortis a little bit.
Well, it showed that George had a lot of great stories in the tank, and regardless of whatever criticisms people were launching during the prequel era, he was firing on all cylinders when it came to the Clone Wars, if you ask me.
Yeah, I know. Totally, totally. So let's get into this. There were 22 episodes, 4 Secrets Revealed, and I'm going to run through them real quick. It was Clone Cadets, ARC Troopers, Supply Lines, Sphere of Influence, Corruption, The Academy, Assassin, Evil Plans, Hunt for Zero, Heroes on Both Sides, Pursuit of Peace, Night Sisters, Monster, Witches in the Mist, Overlords, Altar of Mortis, Ghosts of Mortis, The Citadel, Counterattack, Citadel Rescue, Padawan Lost, and Wookiee Hunt. What was your favorite episode, Elias? And why?
Wookiee Hunt and Padawan Lost. So that was my favorite arc. Either that or the Citadel. I like both of those.
Yeah. Very cool. How about you, Brian?
Was ARC Troopers the one where 99 passes on?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That might be one of my. I really like 99.
Oh, 99, man. That was just so touching, wasn't it?
Lit.
Yeah.
For those of you who use modern slang language, 99 was lit.
What does that mean? Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the 99 arc was really good. I did enjoy the, I guess, the episode where Asajj Ventress goes off and finds the Night Sisters. I thought there was a lot of quality episodes in season 3.
Yeah, I really love the Sphere of Influence. That was one of my favorites. I don't know what it was about that one, but I just really dug it. Maybe it was the cantina,
right?
Yeah, the cantina for the first time. It had Greedo.
That's what I loved. When I saw that it was Mos Eisley, I was like, what? And like as a little kid, like I was like so like into this. I was having so much fun. And it's like Greedo, and I'm like, what? Greedo's in Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's what we call bridging the gap, right? Where they pull in the old stuff from the OT, not just the PT. And I love that too. Yeah. I totally dig that when they bring in, characters from that era. So let's jump into it here. I got some of the pictures lined up for us, and I wanted to share some of those So I will do that right now. And these are some of the customs that we were referring to. So we'll just start at the beginning. And here is Clone Cadets, right? We love this pack because we did get some of the characters, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Which was cool and everything, but we didn't get all of them. That's kind of a bum deal.
No,
They were
we got Heavy and Cut Up, right?
I think we got Heavy, Cut Up, and Droid Bait. And Droid Bait. We got 3 of them. We got three of the 5, right?
But we didn't. I'm talking about in that armor.
Yeah, I think we got Droid Bait too. Mm-hmm.
Did we really?
Yeah, because even though there's 4 here, there's actually 5 Clone Cadets. We're just not seeing.
I think we definitely got Heavy.
The other guy.
He was on a single card, and Cut Up came in that 3-pack with the Bomb Trooper and I forget the other character that came in there.
Maybe I'm mistaken then. Maybe I'm mistaken, but this was a really cool character because it had that removable helmet aspect.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely.
Really
and I like the way the visor too. It was like a yellow see-through visor that was really cool.
Yeah, and you took the time to make the entire team there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I did, but I only made 3 of them actually. I had to try. I couldn't really weather them because I didn't have enough extras of Cut Up or Heavy where if I weathered everybody, I just didn't really want to mess with the original Hasbro figures. So when I did make the companion characters, I basically kept it a Hasbro figure. And I just basically changed the numbers on the leg, on the chest armor, and whatever paint differentiation was needed, I changed whatever paint apps. But for the most part, I tried to make them all look uniform.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I run into that a lot myself in my collection, whether or not to weather the figure,
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to keep it white because you want it to almost look like Hasbro, the company that produces these toys, made the figure in some senses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I had a 501st character that I made a while back, and I was like, man, should I weather this guy or not? And after long, I decided to weather him, but I had him clean for a long, long time. Yeah, so that was a cool episode. And here's an example of what you were just talking about. These are some of the other guys, Bravo Squad, and did the yellow team, did they have a name?
Not that we know of. I don't think so.
We saw them, but I don't know if they actually gave them like an official name at any point in time.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think in the Clone Wars they had that standard green, yellow, blue, red team aspect, and they just showed the yellow, the green, and the red. They didn't show blue, right? Wasn't there an orange? Wasn't there an orange character also? I don't know.
I don't remember. I always focus so much on this, the characters they want us to focus on.
The person who knows these things. Oh.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank tonight for some reason. But let's move on to the next episode, which was ARC Troopers. And here's your favorite character. And you did just a great character custom of this guy, which is 99, right? He is the heart and soul of the Clone Troopers. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. He was actually, I think he's my favorite custom. He's one of my favorite characters of the Clone Wars series. And with him, I kind of went all out. Did a full-blown head sculpt. I ended up making the thermal detonators, and I put magnets in all the thermal detonators. I made the metal that he got from Heavy. He was a lot of fun to make, and I ended up giving him articulation in all the sweet spots where you'd want it, even with the ball jointed hips, so I can get that different stance that he does.
Yeah, we were talking last week about this. how the animated Clone Wars line was so unique because it had so much articulation, so much detail, so much. I'm in a loss for words tonight.
Really, I would say.
Yeah, they were just really great, and they really took it to the next level, right?
Yeah, very much so.
And here's a couple characters that I did for that episode. Just some repaints of some of the ARC troopers. And we did get a lot of these characters, although maybe their paint jobs weren't necessarily the way I felt they should have been. And this is one of the reasons I started customizing, oh boy, 20-some years ago, mainly because I felt like they didn't really get the details right. You know what I'm saying? They would miss details here and there.
Yeah.
And
It's almost like the new Rebel Strong figure that came out and how it has the wrong rank
Ranking
board
insignia.
on his chest.
is
The
that
ranking
right?
insignia is wrong on some of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's some that have the yellow, and then there's some that are just red and blue. It has the completely wrong rank insignia. And thankfully, Hasbro did make the correction at some point in time, but unfortunately, there's still a lot that went out with the wrong rank insignia.
Wow. Yeah, and that's just one of those things.
Why I just customized to fix stuff like that.
Yeah, I believe that's where I got my start. I just wanted to have perfect characters, having the right color, having the right tools and parts and weapons and whatnot. We discussed last week on our episode that they had never made the EE3 that Boba Fett uses in Return of the Jedi. Did you know that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were talking about the blaster. You mean his gun,
Yeah.
rifle?
Yeah, the one with the kind of the extended barrel, and yeah, they never produced that yet. As of yet, they've never produced that gun. And Sugi actually uses that gun in the Clone Wars. That's another bridging the gap of the OT and the prequel trilogy, which is where the Clone Wars resides. So here we have our cadets. This is another custom we both did. Tell me about yours a little bit. I really like the work you did on these, Elias. They were really great.
I honestly don't really remember what I did. I just remember.
I know I did the center one, and then you did the other two.
Yeah, I just pretty much sculpted on the hair off of like a one that we already had. We made a mold of a head that was like shaped bald, and we just poured some casts, and I sculpted hair onto that, and then tried my best to paint some things to match the colors and skin tones.
Very cool. Very cool. And these guys were active there too. Another thing that we cited in these two episodes, the Clone Cadets and the ARC Troopers, Hasbro went crazy on the amount of figures that they produced for these two episodes. Don't you agree?
Yeah, which is funny because here we went, knowing how much they did, and we were like, and we still want more.
We still want more. Exactly. I think in the entirety, my entire custom list for season 3, I think I did like 37 figures and 2 ships for the entire season 3 of custom stuff. So yeah, I think there's never enough, is there? There's never enough of this stuff.
No, because I mean, here we are at the end of season 3,
yeah,
and I still didn't get to all the characters that I wanted to get to in season 3.
God, I know. I'm the same way. I'm the same way, and we see other characters that we want to get to, and we just never get to them. They're endless, right? Endless.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, thankfully, because of the show, I have gotten to a lot of them that were on my list. But regardless of that, like, you know, the last episode we had, episode 50, with the Wookiee hunt and Padawan Lost, I really wanted to get to the Padawans that were being hunted. And I was hoping to get to them in this season of customizing the Clone Wars, and unfortunately, due to time constraints, things happening, life events, it still didn't happen.
Yeah, there's never enough time. Yep. So let's move on to our next episode, and that is supply lines. And who is this guy here? This is Amagundai, right? He had an interesting name, right?
Oh, it was there for a reason. He definitely lived up to that name towards
Yeah, he
the
did.
end of his arc episode time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
one of the cool things about the show is some of the names they came up with
Weren't so creative.
well, they were well suited for their purpose.
Well, that's like naming a kitten like cat or naming your puppy dog.
Yeah,
They're just that.
yeah.
True. They have a lot better names in the Clone Wars than they do in the current Star Wars. I'll tell you that. I don't know about all these weird like Earthbound names like Rose and just all these strange names for Episode 8.
I'm okay with that. I honestly, I'm okay with the name Rose. I mean, it's different.
I mean, it's not much different than Elias.
Yeah, and from like what I've seen of like the actress, I think she's gonna make for a great character that we're all gonna enjoy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But what are some of the other names like DJ or I don't know if that's his actual name.
Oh,
but,
is that a name, a placeholder name, or is that
it could be a placeholder name, but just still some of these names they're not very creative. You know, they're not very Star Warsy in my opinion. But moving on, we're back to supply lines. This was actually a really cool one for me. I really liked it. It was a Jar Jar centric episode. Isn't that hilarious? But yeah, in the end, I guess the lesson was that Jedis do die also, right? Spoiler.
And Jar Jar most likely has Force abilities.
Possibly.
Hey, did you see that balancing of the plate?
Yep.
It only proves that Jar Jar has coordination.
I agree with that theory.
Okay.
Though my mom and her friends call me an idiot. Yeah. I agree with that theory, but let's not.
Did they watch the YouTube video?
Yes, they did, and the entire time all they could provide is laughs.
Well, you know, it's funny. They didn't include all the Clone Wars stuff that we go over in that video. Because then they'd really have trouble.
Jar Jar's a Sith. I don't know.
I like the theory, but I'm not going to go out saying, yes, this is the truth. I think it's a good thing. It's a great idea. But
and it's supported throughout the entire Clone Wars.
Until we have confirmation, I don't want to say anything that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Ahmed best give confirmation.
He's played many characters. He did not specify.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to see Jar Jar again, but it was a cool episode. Here are some of my customs for that episode. I did quite a few for this one. There's my Master Amagundai, and we certainly know, yes, he did live up to that name for sure. And here's a couple of those troopers, Ryloth Trooper, so I call them. Did these guys ever have an actual name? Like some kind of
they were just kind of like generic troopers that were all kind of there. The only one that we really did get to know was that commander who also
Captain Keeley. Captain Keeley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked Captain Keeley. He was cool. Definitely a cool custom. I have a couple of him going right now. A couple commissions going for Captain Keeley. Really popular clone trooper for sure. And here's my Admiral Dow. What do you think of him?
Oh, he's awesome. I think it's really cool that you took the time to make some of those officers.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gone over this a million times, haven't we? We use that same body, that Admiral Yularen, right?
Yep.
And we're going to move it over to your side, and you had a kind of a breakout character that we saw in season 1 of the Clone Wars, and that is Cham Syndulla, and he came back, right?
Yeah, which was really cool. I guess if you this episode kind of ties in. If you do watch it chronologically, it all kind of plays out together, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure does. I love watching it chronologically. I really would love a box set that has it in order. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of those characters, especially once you find out his ties to Rebels and the fact that he's the father of Hera Syndulla, one of the key
Mhm.
characters, Kylo the Ghost, and everything. I just felt like he was someone that I definitely wanted an action figure of. Where I guess initially he wasn't even really on my radar until I found out he was, and maybe he was on my radar, but he
He wasn't
wasn't.
your first choice.
Yeah, he wasn't an A-lister. He was a B-lister until Rebels came along, and then you find out the ties to Hera, and he kind of shot right, almost to the top of the list.
Yeah, the
Of
weird ones
figures I
are
want to
always
do.
fun, right? The weird ones are always the best. I did a weird one too. I did Gobi, his pal. We see
Definitely.
Gobi too again in Rebels, along with Hera, or not Hera, but Numa, right?
Yeah, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Numa again was great. I was like surprised they went that direction, especially since like Disney is not a big fan of Clone Wars. I'm really happy every time they like pay tribute to it or give it any attention in what they're doing in like current production.
Cool. Do you think Disney is a big fan of the Clone Wars? See, I have a tendency. I go the kind of the opposite direction. I feel like they're kind of like sliding it under the rug a
I
little
don't
bit. You
know,
know what I'm
guys,
saying?
because if you look at the action figures that they've been putting out this year for the
Yeah.
Disney parks,
Hmm.
I think they're a bigger supporter of the Clone Wars than even Hasbro is.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I know that we've talked about it.
And just keep it alive in the action figure line.
What's that?
They're doing their damnedest to keep it alive in the action figure line, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, man, they are doing a great job with the Build-A-Droid. We saw the merchant droid come into play, right?
Oh yeah, this is a great year for Clone Wars collectors just because of the action figures that they've released in the Disney theme park line.
I hear you.
I mean, it's awesome. You can't beat it.
Yeah, it's hard to not want it to come back, especially with all the Netflix and we see fans like just different collectors, different people paying tribute to it. Even the stars of the show, they're doing different shows talking about the Clone Wars. I think we discussed James Arnold Taylor has a new show, right? Is it called Clone Wars Conversations, right?
Yeah, so far he's interviewed Anna Graves, the voice of Duchess Satine Kryze, from the Mandalore episodes, which that's some of my favorite storylines that came out of the Clone Wars or anything that had to do with her.
Yeah, did you watch it? That episode?
No, I haven't. I have it on my. You know how YouTube has that watch later where you could like store up those videos that you really do want to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
It's in my watch later
Mhm.
folder, but I haven't gotten to watch it yet. But
I watched it. I thought it was really
the
good. It was really good. Yeah, it was good. What's that?
About how long does an episode last?
It's about a half-hour show.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it's not very long. He keeps them short, but I guess the next one that he's going to be doing, he has Matt Lanter on, I believe.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
So I'm excited for that also. But yeah, just I believe fandom is still around for the Clone Wars. Absolutely, positively.
Indeed.
So let's move it on. Here is one of the reasons I really enjoyed this episode, which was Sphere of Influence. And that was because they brought not only Greedo in, but they brought George Lucas's character from the prequel trilogy, and that's Baron Papanoida. Such a
He
cool
was at the opera.
Yes.
Here's Baron, because what's so weird is like when like they have what's his name? How he like does the introduction to every episode.
Tom Kane?
Yeah, Tom Kane. When Tom Kane does the introduction, he calls him Baron Papanoida, but in the episode, everybody else calls him Chairman Papanoida.
So Baron is a title. They're both titles. He could have more than one title.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's his occupation. I believe he is the chairman of what's his planet? What's his planet again?
Pantora.
Yeah, that's right. The Pantoran group, right? And you have an excellent Pantoran that you've made, right? Can you share that for us?
Yeah. And I can't take credit for this. This is all Elias.
Yeah. Tell us about this one, Elias. Explain this one to us.
This is probably like my first like real like big sculpty custom. I'm really proud of it. I love it. It's like one of my favorite customs. It took me like 6 months. That's probably because I didn't spend a lot of time on it, though. I spent like maybe an hour or two apart across like a really long stretch of time. But in the end, I was really happy with the end result. What I tried to do was like compromise, because there were so many like things in the wardrobe that wouldn't allow much articulation. So I had to like find ways to like complete aspects of the wardrobe, also allowing for maximum articulation, which is not as easy as it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And painting on the dress, I was like, I remember the day I was about to do that, I'm like sitting there, that was the last thing I had to do. And my dad's like, connect the dots. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to do this? So I just put dots there, and I went from like figure to picture to figure to picture, like looking back and forth every 5 seconds, just like tracing in between all these lines. And it's definitely not as easy as it sounds. There wasn't really an easy part of this figure, to be honest with you.
Very
The
cool.
headdress is challenging.
Yeah, I got a lot of help with that. You pretty much did the whole.
The headdress?
Yeah, I just told you what to do. You executed the whole plan.
What's the material you used and the process?
Procreate to make the headdress, right?
Yeah, I think it was Procreate. And then actually, when it came to doing, I don't know if I have a good picture. Let me see if I have one.
The
That's
crystals
decent.
on the back.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's
What
a
we
good
did-
picture with the crystals.
I'll just tell you what we did if we can't find it. We just kind of took some green strings and we laid out like a bunch of little pieces of like this like
clear plastic.
tubing. It's like a rubbery material. You can just kind of cut it into like little crystalline pieces.
Yep.
And we laid them out in a line, and then we put glue over the strands, and then we laid it down onto the crystals so they would all be like an even distance from each other, like stuck to the string. And then once we had all of those done, we stuck them into the headdress.
Do you have a shot of that, or?
I'm gonna try looking around. Oh, that's a work in progress picture that we took. I don't really think there's many great pictures of it. That's also a work in progress picture. Let me see if there. That one shows. That one shows decently what's supposed to be there. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, very cool. Looks good. You did a great job on that.
Also, I did under the headdress. I didn't glue it on either. It just sits on perfectly. That's what's under there. What I did was I took an Ahsoka head and I made a cast. And I painted over the cast. And before I did that, I had to shave it down. Seeing a bald Ahsoka, that's an interesting thing. After that, I just had to freehand in all the details, like the eyebrows. Ahsoka and Chi-Chi have different eyebrows, so I had to freehand in the eyebrows and the design on the teeth. And then for sculpting, I just like also went back and forth with the picture and the actual head. Just like making sure everything was precise and matching what was on the screen.
Very cool. Very good. Yeah, that's a great one. I really want to go back and do the original one where we saw her on the moon What was the moon's name that they were on?
Ordo Plutonia.
Ordo Plutonia. Man, I am just not getting the names tonight for some reason. Ortho Plutonia. That's right.
So many to know, you know?
Yeah, that's
let
true.
me just pull an Obi-Wan line. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, right. So let's move it on a little bit. I really like this episode because it brought in that bridging the gap we were talking about, and it brought in Greedo. I really liked doing this character. He was really cool.
I like what you did with the facial expression.
Yeah, I made it different, a little bit more animated. As we know, the Rhodians in this episode were really different, right? It almost looked like they had like the cosmos in their eyes, right?
Yeah.
So
that's one of my favorite things about the Rhodian eyes.
Yeah, I really liked what they did, and it was great that they pulled classic characters into these shows. And I think that was why I like this episode so much, because we went to Mos Eisley, we saw Rhodians, we saw this next guy here. He is called a Nimbanal. That's his alien species. The most well-known Nimbanal, of course, is here I go again. What's our friend? What's the newest one that we got from Star Wars?
Oh,
the one
Mosap?
What's his name?
Oh, Mosap, yeah, Mosap.
Mosap, right? Yeah, they're all Nimbanal aliens, and he was the bartender, of course. And I made a custom of him. He was really fun. This was my first big custom with the Procreate. I would love to know how other people are liking Procreate, because it seems like we've set a trend, haven't we?
Yeah, a lot more people are starting to use it, which I think is cool.
I honestly, I get why you guys really like Procreate, but I'm not a huge fan of it because it has a fast dry time, and I'm not an advanced sculptor. Like, don't get me wrong, I can sculpt like some of the things that you can, which are very intricate. I love what you guys sculpt; it's amazing. But it takes me time because I'm like one of those clumsy people who like accidentally squish it trying to sculpt something else. So it takes me time, and like the fact that it like has like a 30-minute dry time, it's like it's 2 hours. Oh, you only have like a good 30 minutes to really work with it, because then it starts getting like harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the three that we usually use, the three that we're always talking about, green stuff, the Procreate, and the Fix-It. I would say, yeah, I know. Yeah, you had said that last week. The Fix-It, I think you should work with Fix-It a lot more, because it's it's really cakey, and it gives you that.
That's what I used on Chuchi's hair, not the pigtails, but like the actual part that was like on the head. Mm-hmm. That's I used the Fix-It sculpt.
Yeah, you did a lot of the body work too, didn't you?
Not a lot. I used green stuff
like
most
the dress
of
itself,
the time,
right?
but the actual dress, yeah, I did use that. Oh, I think I used pretty much a little bit of everything.
You did. I do that too, though.
It was a mixture. It all depends on what part of the figure, though, because like some of the sculpting materials are a little more brittle than others. So if you're like doing like sculpting onto the body, then I think it would be best to use like the Fix-It. And the stuff that kind of like hangs off, it would be best to use green stuff or Procreate, because they're more rubbery and durable.
I hear you. That's great advice. So we go into our next show, or our next episode, and here is Satine, right? And you know this to be the Mugen Tea episode, Poison Tea, and everybody was all upset about that, weren't they?
People were upset about that episode? I loved that episode. I love political episodes. I hate it that so many people like knock on them so hard, but I feel like they're the actual episodes. Like, because Star Wars, the whole concept of Star Wars was to amaze you, but also it was so great because George Lucas was like giving attention to like all like the inconsistencies and like corruptions within our government, and he was using Star Wars almost as like a dystopia, or as a way to like crack on the imperfections in our government. And I love it when he does it in Clone Wars, because he really masters that, and he just nails it.
Yep, it's true. That's true. But I liked also that they stayed away from Earthbound things, unlike the new Star Wars, where it seems like everything they're doing is very Earthbound.
Yeah.
Not just the names, but other things too. It doesn't seem alien to me anymore. Like I said, I feel a little ranty tonight, but that doesn't mean I don't love it.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I do love it. But here is my Satine, and man, I'll tell you, I have done so many stinking Satines. I have one in the works currently.
Yeah, I think the guy who you're doing your Satine for, I'm doing a Bo-Katan for right now.
Oh, nice. Very good. Very good.
Same
This is a fun one. This is her adventure outfit. The only difference with this one compared to some of the other ones I've done is what?
The tiara and the earring.
That's right. That's right. She had a different look for some reason in this different episode where she wore the tiara, right?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it. And it was a cool episode where it had Padme in it, and I really liked it too. I didn't mind it so much, but it seemed like a lot of people started to have little fits, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't pay attention to those types of fans really all that much.
Yeah, so true. So true. All right. And we'll move on to the Academy. I didn't really have anything for this episode, but it was
I think was I forget his name now.
You did. You had an Olmec, right?
I had someone for that. Yeah, Olmec. Yeah.
Chad, why you gotta go steal my thunder? I'm supposed to be the one who tells you these things.
I do know some names. Actually, I know a lot of names. I'm pretty good at
Chad,
Star Wars.
why you gotta kill my credentials with a club in front of my eyes?
Sorry, man. I can throw them out with like the best of us, right? So here is your Olmec. Explain this guy real quick.
He's actually made from a Savaggio press, which you wouldn't really be able to know from looking at him, but he was 100% sculpted figure.
He was just a bad guy.
Yeah, he was one of the more interesting villains because he was a political villain. He was basically running a whole black market through the Mandalorian government, and you basically get to see a lot of him throughout the episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
He appeared in more than one.
He also gave us some information that he believed Jango Fett was not a Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
And
he was like, what I found interesting was when Obi-Wan showed that hologram recording of what was supposed to be Jango Fett, he said the guy was attacking a Star Destroyer. And that didn't make sense to me because in the entire Attack of the Clones movie, you never saw him near one. And those weren't even things yet because they didn't have the clone army. It didn't make sense to me.
Oh, you mean the Mando terrorist that was in the hologram? That was a Mandalorian attacking the ship.
Oh.
So. Yeah, we don't see Jango Fett until season 6, but. And we only really see an image of him. But right there. All right. But moving on, this was the last of corruption. I have my Godels here, 2 different versions.
I love Godels.
Yeah, I do too.
That was one of the cooler character designs in the show, I think.
Oh, for sure.
They did such a cool job on the Clone Wars Godels.
Yeah. I want to make that the Godel from Rebels. The one that was trying to sell the yogis. The white one.
The one with the backpack, right? With the basket?
Yeah, the basket backpack. Talk about cool accessories, right?
Very cool.
You have a backpack filled with Yogin, right? Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, by the time Ezra was done, his backpack was full of yogurt.
Yeah, kids got to eat, right? Kids got to eat. Here was a cool one. Here's a cool episode, Assassin. What'd you think of that one?
I loved it. I like the way they brought Aura Singh into the Clone Wars.
And I like the politics. Once again,
Well,
I liked politics.
That was more about Ahsoka getting her, like honing in her force abilities, and
This
I
is
thought it was
true,
cool.
but the idea that it was political, I liked.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm so into politics.
It wasn't that it was a little political, but I wouldn't say it was over the top political.
You pretty much just got to see her give speeches that you didn't understand the context of.
yeah, her speech was pretty awesome. If you listen to it in the background as all the commotion is going on, it was actually.
You didn't really know much about the rest of the situation. You just knew she was giving a speech about war refugees, but you didn't really know about like what certain thing. I don't know.
I can't believe you guys remember the speech. I don't remember it at all.
All right, bud.
Yeah, you can go in and listen to it.
You knew it was about refugees. I mean, I guess I was more. I'm one of the fans that watch the action, maybe.
Yeah.
And
action. Star Wars is more than action, my friend.
I understand that, but maybe I'm just one of those blind dummies that just focusing in on all the explosions.
And it was cool because her look was different. We're talking about Aura Singh when we started talking about this episode, and her look was different for this one. She kind of had that raccoon eyes thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I love what you did with the gun on yours.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, that was a G.I. Joe. The box of it was a G.I. Joe like briefcase. But I thought it would be cool to like actually try to make that gun.
Yeah, look how you made it dismantle.
Yeah, you can pull it all apart. That's another thing I wanted to bring up as far as customizing goes. When you're gluing certain pieces onto each other, sometimes it's really helpful to actually drill into one of the pieces and actually sink the other piece into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was actually trying to explain that to a guy who asked, how do you articulate wrists? And I was trying to say how you could like basically use a styrene rod as your peg if you don't have pegs available.
Yeah.
And, drill up into the hand a bit before you put the rod into the hand. But, that's the situation where you would do something like that.
Yeah, I feel that same way with a lot of things. I have an example right here. This is a just kind of a Clone Wars R2. Only he has an R5 head on there. But if you notice, he has a different antenna. You see that there?
Ooh.
So what I did there, if you can see that, do you see how the top of the peg, I don't know if you can see it well enough or not.
Yeah.
But you see how the top of the peg is a little bit thicker?
Yeah.
So what I did is I actually drilled into that bigger portion and I sunk the top portion onto the antenna. So
what material did you use? Like, because
that's
I could imagine like if you were using like plastic, it like would have like bent around. Like
that's Procreate.
Wow.
I think the green stuff and the Procreate can do the same thing. It's awesome. It's durable. This is one of the reasons I use the Procreate. It's like rubber or it's like butter, right? It's like butter.
I just found out about it. Some kind of new casting material. Instead of like coming out like a hard resin, it actually comes out like a rubbery material. And
cool.
Yeah, I think Smooth On makes it. I may actually have the name because I did try to save it in my phone when I found it. And I might as well share it now with everybody while I have an opportunity to, because
what would you use it for?
It's called Task 16. Maybe like rubber capes or things of that nature. Or like maybe instead of doing like a hard like you did like an X-Wing pilot helmet, maybe you'd want to make it out of this stuff instead, because it'll be able to like just bend overhead, where how resin sometimes it's really hard and you don't have that flexibility. Maybe that would be a good thing to cast a Rebel helmet in or something of that nature.
Yeah, I hear you. A lot of times there are people, they go back and forth. How do you guys feel? Do you like soft goods or do you like rubber capes?
It depends, because like soft goods can get blousy if you don't use them the right way.
Yeah, a little too much puff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen soft goods work out well. I guess it depends on how well the soft goods complement the figure. I mean, we've seen hits, we've seen misses. I don't mind soft goods. I've seen them work great before, but at the same time, I've seen them get excessive as well. So, you know, it depends on the figure.
Yeah, I was just listening to something. It's not really Clone Wars related, but we were talking about it too. The Funko figures, and they were talking about how they prefer to use rubbery kind of capes so they could fit the figures in the vehicles
into the Batmobile.
Yeah,
that was the Batman line.
Yeah, even though the cape still is going to be rubbery and not soft goods, right?
Yeah, which is interesting. You know, the guy who is the design coordinator for that Batman line, he's actually a Star Wars customizer.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to Instagram, I want to say it's maybe like Reese O'Brien or...
It was Reese O'Brien, at Reese O'Brien, right? Yeah, well, one of the Funko designers. I think I just saw vintage stuff on there. He
was like he does stuff like Sand Troopers or variations on like the Leia, Han outfit, stuff like that. But
awesome.
Yeah, I love that Funko Batman line. For anybody who watches this, I am not a Star Wars collector. Everything you see behind you, it's this guy's. I don't have a toy collection, but I just broke down and bought that Funko Batman 1966 line.
Well, it's good that you're starting to warm up to toys because I love toys. Fanatic.
I was like, I'm old. I gotta
me too.
Spend money on this guy. I'm gonna spend money anywhere.
Happy Father's Day, man.
Yeah.
I have just been a toy geek for my whole life, man. I'll tell you, I love toys. I love all different kinds of toys, but back to the Clone Wars toys. And that's really why we do the show too. We do customizing. I know for myself, I can ask you guys the same question. I like the freedom of having any character that I want. That's why I do customizing. Why do you guys do customizing?
I think it all kind of started with me when I was a little kid, and I was like, this is cool, and I want to do it. And then it just kind of branched off of there. It started off as like a cool, fun thing we could do together, but then it just kind of turned into, hey, you want to make this figure? Well, we can, so let's do it.
Exactly. I love the freedom.
Yeah, I liked making a lot of it was really the Clone Wars. I mean, Clone Wars had so many cool characters. Not all of them were made, especially, now that we're going into season 4 very soon. 5 and 6. I mean, those are the characters that never got figures. Chewbacca was really the last new Clone Wars figure that we got.
That's true.
And here we are. We're wrapping up season 3. So now everything going forward. If there's new characters introduced, they're not going to have an action figure unless someone, does what we do and you customize it and you make a one of a kind of that character. So you're going to pretty much we're going to be hitting hard now with customs in this show going forward. I mean, we do have people like Satine Kreese who were, they were in the earlier seasons, but they didn't get characters either. And that's why we've had some
too, right? That's a shame. That's an absolute shame.
Anybody, if you're going to create a love interest for Obi-Wan Kenobi, you need to make an action figure for that character.
So many twisted turns in this show. It was so great. Such a great show.
Oh, I loved it.
So let's get back to this. This was another one of my favorites I don't know why. I just love this episode. This is called Evil Plans, right?
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, and one of the reasons was because of this guy, Drugan. And we had found out that his design was based on an old Tom and Jerry cartoon. And his uncle had come to town. What was his uncle's name?
He was the one big long mustache.
Yeah, and he
Uncle.
said, "Oh God!" And he sang "Crambone." It was hilarious. It was hilarious. And he'd pull a whisker from Tom every time he
to fix his guitar.
to fix his guitar. But moving on. He was such a cool, shifty little merchant guy, as well as this guy. We were just talking about that with Disney. They actually made this head, didn't they? They made this character. They made it exist. It's a shame they didn't put this paint job on that character.
Oh, I know.
Probably too many paint applications. It would have to be an exclusive.
Pricey equals dicey.
Yeah, I agree.
You may not make your money back.
Are you going to purchase a head and repaint it?
I already bought the head. I did take, I bought the head. I'm gonna make a mold and I'm gonna cast it, and then I'm gonna take the original head and put it back with the figure that it came with. But instead of using that head with the Disney Build-A-Droid body, I instead want to use it with the Clone Wars C-3PO body.
Sure.
Just because I feel like it's just, it looks better.
I agree. Just like that R5 unit I just showed you a little bit ago. There's something a little. It's really nice when you're able to put it on a Clone Wars body, right?
Very much so.
Yeah. Here's another guy. We've seen this before, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the flying element, right? Why couldn't they just do this for this character? I mean, kudos to them for giving us such a cool accessory. This was a great accessory.
That's probably one of the best accessories we've got in the Clone Wars line.
Exactly. I agree. Same thing with Dice Ivagon from what is that episode? Well, it's from Star Wars, obviously, but one of the Cantina characters came with Dice Ivagon, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that worm type of character. Yeah, so cool.
Pinto Duwaba, right?
Yep.
Is that
Yep. For sure. Good accessories would make a great toy line. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Yeah. And then we move to our next episode. This was a good one because this was on my birthday this year, and we talked to Jimmy Mack, didn't we? From Rebel Force Radio.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was so much fun, and we both done really cool Zero the Hutts, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to show off our zeros, which was fun.
Not only that, we got to do this gal too. I was so glad they brought her in.
Out of that episode.
Man, I couldn't believe it. I was blown away. When I saw Snooty.
Especially when they give her such a cool backstory.
Yeah, I was shocked too that she was his old girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of this episode, Elias? Did you like it?
We had a sad ending. No matter how much of a horrible person Zero was, why did he have to die?
Yeah,
I think he was one of the coolest villains to come out of the show. I was really bummed when he died.
Yeah, you constantly get these videos online where people rant about how dumb he is, and I'm like, have they ever even watched the show to know how cool this character is? He was so shifty and slimy and perfect in every way. I really like his character.
I think they just gave him a hard time because he was purple.
Yeah, I like the fact that they made Hutts not so much the same mold, but a little bit different. You know what I'm saying?
They're all diverse.
Yeah, they all looked a little bit different, didn't they?
The Hutt Council. I loved the Hutt Council. Like, there's that one that's wearing the ugly sweater and like a beret. There's the one that has like the round head and those like round eyes and a glowing like cigar thingy. And
that was from Evil Plans.
In there.
Yeah, that was from Evil Plans, and I just loved it when Cad Bane, he's like, if it isn't the head of the 5 Hutt families, you know? I love that. It was so hilarious. I was blown away. I'm with you. I really dug the fact that they brought those in. Weren't they like a comic, kind of an EU element originally? The
I don't know.
5
I know Bardulo definitely was, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the other huts if they were made specifically for it.
I think they were just specifically for the episode.
Yeah.
In there.
Bardula had a pretty developed backstory though.
Yeah.
I know, they had like a couple comics that featured her with her skiff on Tatooine and rivalry between her and Jabba, but yeah.
And we've seen a lot of cool people, a lot of cool renditions of Zero the Hutt made, not just from the Clone Wars version, but other molds of the Jabba the Hutt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and here is your example. You want to talk about yours real quick?
On mine, I've done 2. This is my first one. And I basically resculpted the face. On this one, the jaw is static. I ended up doing a second one actually for Jimmy Mack of Rebel Force Radio as a commission earlier this year. And that one actually has a mouth that actually moves. And on this one, some of the jewelry is removable, some of it's not. On Jimmy Mack, the one I did for him, all of it's removable. Then the fun thing, I guess the thing that I like about this custom the most is that it actually glows under a black light the way it did in the movie.
Yeah, that place was awesome. The club.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the cantina of the Clone Wars, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. Such a great character. I really wish they made him or even go back. If they made him tomorrow, tons of people would buy him. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. He had, for just as many people who were diehard Zero fans, he actually had at least a small number of people that really didn't like him, too.
That's true. So let's move on to the next episode. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was one of the fans of Zero. I liked him. I had no problems with him at all.
Yeah, I agree. Just a great character all the way around. And here's another great character that they pulled in. I feel like he was underutilized, don't you? This is Lux, of course, I'm talking about. I kind of wish we saw a little bit more of him.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get more. I mean, I do like they did sprinkle him in a little bit every season. Once they did introduce him, and we did get a nice character arc for him as well. I mean, he's a character I have to make at some point.
I love the character development they had when Ahsoka and him met the Death Watcher Karla.
Yeah, that was a great
not
one.
having a lot in my collection, to me, that's like a huge hole that needs to be filled.
Yeah,
at some point.
The love interest, right? Or we thought it was going to be the love interest, right?
Yeah, I think Ahsoka was hoping for it, but
yeah, when she missed up with Steela, that was kind of the end of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, these Jedis, they're a shifty bunch, right? They have these love interests in disguise, right? And here's another example of that. This is a Padme I still have yet to finish. She still looks like this, guys, unfortunately. But I really love this look of hers. It was kind of the senator look. I would have thought we'd get one senator from the Clone Wars, right?
I ended up buying that first Padme in that white outfit from the Clone Wars line, the one that came with the purple hood.
Yeah.
I just bought one recently just so I could cast that head. And then, once I have a mold of that head, I figure if I ever get extremely ambitious, I could start going crazy with some of those senatorial outfits.
Yeah, just make every look. That would be great.
Yeah, just keep pouring heads and see how it works out. See how far you can go.
Yeah. So this was the next thing I really wanted to talk about. This is what you brought up. One of the things you liked. I like this too. We didn't see this coming, did we? We saw that Count Dooku got rid of his paddle or his apprentice, right?
Yep.
And these are some of our Night Sisters. Well, where did my Night Sisters go? I don't know. But
I'm looking for one too. I'm like, where are they?
we got the introduction to the Night Sisters, and of course Mother Talzin, which was a pretty well thought out character. She caused all kinds of crazy stuff in this series, don't you think?
Oh
Mother
God, yeah.
Talzin. Oh boy.
Yeah, she was pretty powerful, man. She held a lot of influence. Like when you have someone like Count Dooku going to her for help, that really gives you an idea of, what a powerful player she was. And, later on, you'll learn in the comics, she's Darth Maul's mother.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, she was a great character too. So many great characters. Ventress was another good one, but I know she was established early on. But the Night Sisters, probably some of the coolest stuff. When they brought in Star Wars ninjas, I was like, whoa, I like this. Right? And then they bring it full circle in the next season, and they're gonna do Ninja Zombies. So that's just
I'm looking forward to when that rolls around.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So these are your Night Sisters you have up here?
Yeah, I have I guess one with the sword, one with the bow, and then Talzin in the middle. Talzin, I think she might have been like one of my more in-depth figures, or first heavily sculpted figures. Had to make it taller, at least as tall as a Chewbacca. And then she's 100% sculpted for the most part.
Very cool. And when you say 100% sculpted, what do you mean by that? Explain to kind of.
We like take like a body and we shave it down to like barely anything, and then we build it back up to something that looks like a person using like sculptable materials.
Yeah, I hear you. Kind of like a mannequin, right?
Mom did the soft goods on that for me. This was actually a birthday present I did for Elias's. I want to say, what was it, like your 9th birthday?
Yeah, you stayed up so late. I don't know if I knew what you were doing or not, but I remember you pulling like all-nighters and stuff. It was like you went.
Yeah, I think I made my Night Sisters probably like 4 years ago or something like that. I mean,
it had to be longer than that.
2012.
Yeah, I met you guys in 2010, and I was all gung ho on Clone Wars for sure. Yeah, and you have your ninja Ventress there too. That was a great look for her.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite looks for her.
Yeah, that's why she was so great. Not only did she have a great story, you didn't know where it was going half the time. She had a lot of great looks too that they changed throughout. Yeah, I think that's essential in Star Wars.
Yeah,
lots of cool outfits. Don't just keep going with the same outfit over and over and over again.
Agreed.
This is something I liked that I really wanted to do. It's a Count Dooku in his pajamas, his silken pajamas. I thought that was hilarious, but it was cool too, right? They sneak into his house, and he's just like, "I don't need my eyes. I will fight you, Jedi." Oh man, it was so cool. But all different kinds of characters. We go in. I'm going to move it on a little bit faster. We go into Monster, and we meet his new apprentice, of course, and we see a bunch of new Jedis. So you're seeing Halsey here and his apprentice, Nox. And what happens to those guys? They get
nothing
whacked.
that one happened to me.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Savage.
Yeah, this whole idea that these Zybrak, are they Zybraks? Zybrakian?
Yeah, Zabrak. Yeah, the Zabraks. Yeah.
Yeah, they are a pivotal point in the Clone Wars that we find out that his brother is still alive somehow. Somehow, some way, he has a brother, and it appears it is Darth Maul, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So then we go into Yeah, check that out. This is.
And I'm like, who is that?
This was another really awesome.
Yeah, I was like, who is that? And you're like, it's Darth Maul. And I'm like, oh, Darth Maul.
This was another great guest that we had, a really talented customizer. In my opinion, one of the best in the business or in the hobby, I would say. And this is Dayton Allen's, right? This is
yeah. I think one of the cool things about that episode, I mean, he really walked us through from like beginning to end of his whole process. And you know, I've seen him talk about this custom before, but we were really fortunate to have him go in depth episode about his Savage build and the way he used magnets, because a lot of the armor on the figure that you're looking at right now comes off. I mean, he'll basically get, this figure can get bare chested. All that armor that you're looking at is all held on with either clear rubber bands or with magnets, and it's all removable to the point where you could actually see this figure shirtless. And there's a lot of interchangeable parts on this figure.
So cool. Yeah, that was a great episode also. Had some technical difficulties, but we certainly got through it, didn't we?
Yeah, and with all the editing, it didn't hurt the episode at all.
Yeah, so true, so true. So let's move on a little bit. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. So this was the Mortis arc. We didn't really have anything for the Mortis arc. We look to some of our friends, and we like to give shout outs every once in a while. So we had customizer, oh my gosh.
The Real March 4th.
Real March 4th. Yeah, he did some cool stuff. I really liked it. I definitely want to try to make these at some point. I feel like they were a big part of the future of Ahsoka, but we had gone through this discussion, right?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out exactly how that is all going to play in with that character.
Yeah.
What the impact is, if it has any impact, what the deal is going to be. As far as like, is Ahsoka dead? Is she reborn? Did she just get with the explosion? Was she just blown to the other side of the room? And her and Vader went separate ways. I mean, you don't really know.
Yeah, she's not a wolf, right? She's not going to turn into a wolf.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy that she's not turning into a wolf. I love wolves and I love Ahsoka, but I don't want a wolf Ahsoka anytime soon.
That's true. That's true.
That's great. Like that little cartoon that Dave posted out to play.
Yeah.
Owl, wolf, and then it goes to Ahsoka saying not the wolf.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the only custom I made from that trilogy, the Mortis trilogy, was the mechanic of Ahsoka.
Yeah, right. And we'll definitely have to look back to it again. I definitely want to do the sun at some point, but we'll move it on just for the sake of time. Now we get into counterattack, and is it counterattack and the Citadel?
Citadel, counterattack, and
Citadel rescue, and we meet Tarkin. We meet Captain Tarkin, right? That was so cool.
That was one of the coolest.
A lot of neat things came out of this series. We saw Carbonite, right? They did Carbonite for the first time. This is my Carbonite Rex you're seeing here. We saw the ARC Troopers for the first time, both fives, and Echo. And unfortunately, we lost Echo in that one, didn't we?
Well, we thought we did. I guess we don't find out till Celebration, really, when they start showing us some of the not finished animation episodes. I guess that was what was the name of that squad, the elite squad of clones?
The Bad Batch.
Bad Batch. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see those come season or after season 6, right? Kind of a season 6 2.0. And we'll do a whole series on those too.
You know what I really wish they did? I wish they got somebody from like the old crew of Clone Wars, like the person who actually like did the art and finished things up. If they got that person to go back and finish up those episodes and show them to us.
Well, the bad news is it's not a person, it's multiple people, and unfortunately a lot of them are employed at other places now, because not only most of those people were laid off, or they ended up having to basically change jobs. And not only that, but some of the equipment that they were working on isn't even in the, it's been repurposed and maybe used to work on, other things at this point. So it's sad. I mean,
It is
everybody's saying, like, let's keep going with the Clone Wars, bring back the Clone Wars. But to do that, I mean, you would really have to
get back a lot of the things that they had before.
Yeah, it's next to impossible. I mean, when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and during that episode, I
did a Debbie Downer.
I did
it's not a Debbie Downer thing. It's just logistics.
Check this out, guys. I did a ship as well. And we talked about this, didn't we? We talked about decals and...
oh, yeah, that was great.
Blows Bros.
Blows Bros, exactly. That was a fun one, right? And you got your Tarkin up there too, right?
Yeah. I just did a quick Tarkin. You repaint the Yularen. I made a head cast from A Power of the Force to Tarkin. Changed it up a bit with some sculpted material and some sandpaper, and ended up making my own Tarkin from that. And then then later on, I ended up this year, actually, for these episodes, I went and I ended up trying to create the O.C. Sobek figure. And I kind of, I'm still kind of working on that one. He's coming along. I actually changed him since the last time I posted him. So
yeah,
he's not even looking the same at this point.
I really like that character. That's great. We find out that that's the same alien species as Moralo Weval, somebody we will meet in season 4.
And I like how they look so different, even though they're the same type of alien. They, that's one of the things I liked about the Clone Wars. Not every character looked like. Not every species, within the same species, characters look different. Essentially.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was a great episode, and yeah, we lost Echo for a little while, right? We lost him to the other side, and we lost even Peel too, didn't we?
Yeah, that was controversial at the time because of the book that Karen Traviss wrote. Yeah. I guess what EU was contradicting what was being laid out as canon in the Clone Wars, and some people got upset about that. But
everybody and their opinions.
Why we have
their opinions. Yeah. Everybody's got to have their opinion, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move it to the next things. I just did a Starfighter as well. I dabble in ships and stuff. I'm really trying to work on a couple different ships. But here is a custom I did for the ship.
I love the Clone Wars astromechs.
And they were really colorful, weren't they?
Mm-hmm, very much so. Yeah. And something about that mold just lends well to customizing and the way it shows off paint compared to the traditional classic figures.
I agree, and I like the design of that body too. That astromech body with the doors and everything, and the two arms.
It has all the bells and whistles.
What's that?
It has all the bells and whistles.
Sure does. The second one was much better, but oh well. I only have a couple of those. So here we are at the end. This was what we talked about last week with our guests, and this is your favorite episode, right, Elias?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about this episode. This was Padawan Lost, right? Why did you like it so much?
I like the intricacy of the animation. They put a lot of effort into it. I mean, like, there's like little scenes on Felucia, like where Ahsoka's like hiding behind a plant, and you can see the little ants crawling up on it. There's a scene like on that what was the name? It was on Island 4, and they're like up in the trees, and there's like butterflies flying around. and like they have like these like briar patches, like these huge like ginormous like flowers and mushrooms and like briar patches everywhere. They just put so much effort into what they were doing.
Yeah, it's kind of when the animation turned the corner again, you know.
Yeah,
and
right.
Another notch.
And then by like you look at like the movie and like you go to Christophsis and you see like piles of rubble. They're literally like they're like polygonized shapes. Like they're literally just like triangles. Like you can see that they're like perfect shapes with like a shoddy texture on them. And then you see this episode and you see how much the animation has progressed.
It's true. I think it all started with like corruption, where there was a lot of people in the audience. You know, they did that parade or whatever on Mandalore when goes. Yeah, I think that's where it all started.
They even sometimes put like stuff that they do in Rebels like all the time, where they just take the same character but they color it differently. They'll mix and match traits from a few characters, like maybe some outfits, and then they'll just throw them all in there. Yeah,
I hear you. I said it last week, and I'll say it until until the last day, that the Clone Wars was primed for so many different variants, so many different colors of characters, so many different looks for the characters that they could have made. It's unbelievable how many characters we've made just for the series so far, right?
Oh, I can't believe it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have probably made, and that's not to lift myself up or anything, but it's just the extent of how many characters there are. I have probably made the amount of customs that they have made for the entire collection.
I would have to agree, yeah.
Which is crazy.
I haven't gone that crazy, but yeah, you have for sure.
To think how many characters there still are to make from this show. And
yeah, I still feel like I could work years and not even scratch the surface.
Yeah, make a dent, right?
Yeah.
Even like the main characters and whatnot. Why can't we just get those in the collection? I don't know. But
I'm leaving it up to Disney now. I mean, Disney's already filled a few holes for me. So,
you think they would take it over?
I mean, they really, like, why? I don't understand. Like, considering how much of their own content they have at this point, whether it being Rebels or the new movies, for some reason, the Disney parks, I mean, I would say it's predominantly Clone Wars.
Yep. Well, they used to do those fun days or whatever. I've never been to one of those. What are those?
I don't want it to ever end. I mean, I'm going to be crushed when they stop releasing Clone Wars stuff.
Yeah, right.
It's like I'm hoping that they have a Hu Yang at the new Disney parks, helping kids assemble their own customized lightsabers. Just so I can get a Hu Yang figure one day.
I went there once. It's been working. They have really impressive animatronics, right? As of now, I think they actually have like a working 3PO that actually talks. So,
yeah,
like if they imagine they have like a life-size human there, like it interacting with it
with his drawers that open and closing and.
Don't make me want to.
I want my Hu Yang with his drawers that he can like open and close with his arms behind him.
I want my Hu Yang. You gotta make a shirt. I want my Hu Yang.
Yeah, totally.
Just like kind of have a little monocle that like turns down.
Yeah,
that would just be like.
I want that from Disney.
This is a character, folks. That if you don't know who Hu Yang is, you will. We'll see him when we get into season 5. Yeah, season 5. But let's talk about. Let's wrap it up here. Season 4. Yeah. What's some of the exciting things for season 4 you're looking forward to?
More Mandalore.
Water War. That was. We don't really have
was the box in season 4?
Sure was. That's one of my favorites, the box.
Oh yeah.
One of my biggest projects I think I've ever done was I did all the characters from the episode, well as many as I could. So I'm looking forward to that for sure. What are some of the other ones I'm looking forward to? I can't recall. Right?
Right?
What's
This is when
that?
we actually get to see Maul on screen, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. There's a lot of great stuff coming.
There weren't that many independent episodes in season 4. Season 4 was all arcs.
It was a lot of arc heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing that changes with the Clone Wars in season 4. It's all arcs pretty much.
Yeah.
Where they just put an
Are these supposed
emphasis.
to get the really fun episodes with R2 and
The
3PO?
D-Squad? No, I think it's season 5.
No, not the D Squad. The ones where it's just the two of them. They go into the underworld and they go. They're almost like the Wizard of Oz episode.
Yeah, the cringy one.
Yes.
I like them. I mean, it reminds me of
I
droids.
like that they were the Wizard of Oz, and don't you want children deserve their Clone Wars episodes? But I just don't like them.
It reminds me of the droids. It's just as much for children of the 80s as it is for little kids.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, we have a lot
cool.
of stuff. It's going to be fun to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to season 4. We're going to be starting that. Are we going to be starting that next week? Is that something we've discussed?
Yeah. Most likely, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's our show for this time around. Season 3 was awesome. Season 4 is going to be even better. We definitely got a lot of customs coming. Brian was right. There wasn't a lot of characters from this point on, but we certainly have a lot of characters, right?
Oh yeah, I mean,
characters to come.
Probably why I have so much work to do in the Clone Wars is because I have to get these characters from these final seasons.
Yeah, a lot of good arcs, a lot of great stuff coming up. But when I'm not here, I am on Facebook at Peak Obi-Wan Custom Creations. And I'm also on Instagram at Peak Obi-Wan Custom Figures. Where can we find you when you're not here?
When I am not here, you could find me at the Customs for the Kid blog. That's www.customsforthekid.blogspot.com. From there, you can see basically our entire catalog of action figures that were made here at the action figure index here. Just click the pictures and it will take you to the location. We also can be reached on Facebook, our YouTube channel that you're watching us on now. Feel free to subscribe so you don't miss out on any content. We also have an account on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Pinterest, as well as Google+. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Really quick, I wanted to give a plug to our good buddy Will out in California. He goes by Thank the Maker. He's doing these awesome space station dioramas
of the Death Star walls.
Yeah. Or like the Death Star walls, right?
Yeah. And like I'm probably gonna run out tomorrow and get some glossy black spray paint so I can get cracking on those. And I'm out of I don't have enough gray paint, so I'm gonna try and get some more gray paint so I can get those walls painted up and get a little thing going soon.
Yeah,
on the bottom for
he
it.
just did a video for this. He's going to talk about it. He's going to go through it. He actually has some really great comedy in it too in his video. Check it out on YouTube also through Thank the Maker. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be making this stuff available to everybody. So I just wanted to give him a plug because I'm going to be building them. Brian's going to be building them. And we're going to have fun with them. So thank you for those awesome diorama parts. And that's why it's customizing is an awesome thing, right?
Oh, yeah. The friends you make and, yeah, it's the sharing that goes on. It's one of the best parts of the customizing hobby.
Awesome. Well, once again, folks, thanks for joining us. This was episode 51 of Customizing the Clone Wars. Have a good night,
everybody, and may the Force be with you always.